Russia, creating a new Cold War with Russia. Now the girls who are running his show are now threatening and saber-rattling against China, saying, you know what, you can only launch 1,500 miles from China. We can launch, I think it's 4,000-mile range? I have no idea what the range is from the United States. But you see, with our submarines, the fact of the matter is we can launch from anywhere. They have many submarines, but I don't know that they have, I do not know if they have ballistic submarines. The point is, this is insanity. This is insanity. China is building a modern and regionally powerful navy with limited but tremendously growing capability for conducting operations beyond China's region near their own shores. And they have a broad array of platform and weapon acquisition programs, which they've gotten by stealing from the United States, buying from Iran and North Korea, including anti-ship ballistic missiles, anti-ship cruise missiles, submarines, surface ships, aircraft. I know this is frightening, and many of you don't want to hear this. You'd rather think about what a group of ball players have to say in Missouri, or what the moron Bernie Sanders, the street peddler, the pickle salesman from Ludlow Street, has to say about politics. But to me, the national security is the number one issue. And this player in the White House is not playing the game very well. He's put us at a tremendous disadvantage. And just before this missile test on Saturday night off the coast of L.A., this strange story came out. The weakling defense secretary, the one who speaks by shaking with a pink tie, threatened China and Russia. That's right, you heard me. The weakling pink-tied defense secretary, Ashland Carter, who has been rushing as quickly as he can to denigrate our military, said that Russia and China are potentially threatening the global order. What in the world is this administration doing? I know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. That's what they're doing.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
Blue Monday, I hate Blue Monday. Got to work like a slave all day.
I think that the Missouri protesters should next demand that no tests be permitted for football players, because there's no doubt some racism involved in any kind of testing. And so I think it's important that they get rid of all tests for football players so that they can all get straight A's and then go from there to, let's say, a medical school or a law school. And then, of course, they should eliminate the LSATs and the MCATs, because those are also racist. And then anyone can be a doctor or a lawyer, because you don't want to discriminate against anybody who may not be able to pass the LCAT, whatever they'll test us to get into law school, or the MCATs. And I think eliminating standardized testing should be one of the demands of those in Missouri. If you look at their other demands, they're not too far away from the following, which I'm about to read to you out of New York City. A principal, that's of course an oxymoron in New York City's public schools, a school principal has just said that standardized testing is modern-day slavery. I'm not making it up. In an online rant, a Bronx public school principal has likened standardized testing to slavery, redlining, and crack cocaine, and damaging the lives of minorities. And here's what the genius wrote. Public school high-stakes standardized testing is a form of modern-day slavery, and it is designed to continue the proliferation of inequality. Cornerstone Academy for Social Action middle school principal Jamal Bowman said in an August 31 blog entry titled The Tyranny of Standardized Testing. And I'll go on, because the man is so smart that even Larry David should pay attention to this. Robert De Niro should seek this man out and see if they can put him in a movie as an example of a brilliant American. He went on, this genius, who said that testing is the equivalent of slavery. He went on and said, America was born of horror for black people, and that horror continues today for brown and poor people as well. Slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, crack cocaine, and now standardized testing were all sanctioned by the American government, all designed to destroy the mind, body, and soul of black and brown people. The principal blamed the U.S. government for perpetuating a, quote, legacy of oppression, with the Obama administration adopting the Race to the Top program that prodded states to use student exam results to evaluate teachers and promote charter schools. He went on. From the Continental Congress to Race to the Top, America has a tradition of disenfranchising the masses. The founding principal of the Eastchester Middle School, Principal Bowman, has emerged as an outspoken critic. Okay, I can read on and on. I read on. But former U.S. Education Secretary Ron Page, who grew up in segregated Mississippi and, like Bowman, is black, said it was wrong to inject slavery into the discussion. Rod Page said this: I disagree with him completely. I'm disappointed the discussion is turning ugly. We're better people than that. Can you believe this? That this is what's going on, that tests themselves are now considered racist? Where is it going to end? I'll tell you where it ends, because I've studied in great detail. It ends the way communist China ended when Mao Zedong conducted the Cultural Revolution. They took illiterate girls from illiterate peasant girls from the country, and they put them into hospitals, and they said to the illiterate girls, you are now a doctor. And if the girl said, I don't know how to be a doctor, they called her a counter-revolutionary, and they punished her, sometimes very severely. And then they took the surgeons and the doctors in the Chinese hospitals, and they called them bourgeois reactionaries, and they forced them to work in the laundries of the hospitals. This is where America is going under Mao Tse Obama, who I called pleasantly Maobama about 2 years ago. So that's one story. I mean, there are others. There's plenty of other stuff. The big thing is the missile test. I have a question for my audience. We're almost near the Thanksgiving mark already. It's the 9th of November. What is it, 2-3 weeks now? I can't believe how quick the year is gone. What passage from Government Zero do you intend to read to your family over Thanksgiving? I know it's a loaded question. I get it. And I could just imagine that many of you, you're buying the book in droves. You probably are dying to quote something from the book to some liberal relative. I mean, everyone in the world has a Bernie Sanders in the family. Everyone in the world has a Larry David in the family, especially if you're from New York. Everybody knows the type. They grab your lapel, they poke you in the chest with their finger as they spritz you with too much saliva, and they tell you how great socialism is. They spritz you with their saliva while telling you about income inequality. Meanwhile, they came to your house in either a Lexus or a Mercedes. You get the picture. You know how it works. And is there a passage from Government Zero that you'd like to read to the Bernie in your family? I'd like to know what it might be. Now let's go back to some of the news talk on the Savage Nation. WDRC Radio. I guess Bill is not there. Bill, you're going to try again? Bill is gone. That's a good one. First caller dead. No one responds to. We'll try the next one. KKOH, Reno. Dale, you're the next up. Let's hope you're there. Go ahead, Dale.
Yes, I'm here. What I wanted to get in touch with you about was I come from a mix. First, I'm a veteran, so thank you for taking care of the veterans and doing all you do. But I come from a mixed race family. Nephews are half black and half white, as well as half Latino and half white nieces. And I've been teaching them that even though, the whole society's changed and come around, that they're going to have to work a little bit harder than everybody else, because people have a perception, and for a lot of people, perception is reality. So when they see it, and I hear about stuff happening at schools and people demanding stuff, it makes me think.
Wait, you say people have perceptions. What perceptions do you mean people have?
Well, people assume there's all kinds of racial things, like black people are lazy, things like that. And I tell them that these are perceptions and stereotypes that people live.
Wait. Let's slow down. You mean all white people think that all people of color are lazy?
I didn't say that, sir. I said that there's these perceptions out there. Okay? I didn't.
And what? You're going to let your whole life stop because of someone's viewpoint of you? That's not the right answer. You have to go on with your life as though there are no perceptions about you and run your own life and not be so overly sensitive to what some person may think about you. I don't understand this. Let me ask you something. Do you think that admitting students to colleges based on their race, not upon their qualifications, has something to do with the perceptions that may exist?
No, I'm on the Chapter 33 voc rehabilitation. I'm a disabled veteran, and I've had to earn everything I've got from the government.
No, I didn't say, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the widespread practice that you know and I know is in place across America, where people of a certain background who do not as well on standardized tests are pushed ahead of others based on their race. Do you think that has created some sort of resentment in this country?
To a point, yes. I mean, you can even go back to the Simon Binet testing for intelligence in the early 1900s. I mean, you could go back to as far back as that. There's resentment on both sides. I resent Miss Obama because she got into places based upon her race that some people who probably deserved it a lot more of her than her should be in that place.
But what I'm saying is, of course, in all societies that are multi-racial, you're going to have resentment between races. That's a given. But you know it runs in all directions. You admitted that, right?
I concur, yes.
Okay. So how do you live in a multiracial society where there are inherent suspicions and resentments between one race and the other? What do you tell your children? How do you raise them? You tell them to ignore the taunts, ignore this and not fall for the taunts, and just move on with your life and just do the best you can and prove yourself by doing the best you can. Isn't that the answer?
I tell them to be better than the next guy, and that way you get chosen for things. I don't have any kids, but
that's what I'm saying to you. I don't understand why everyone has to be so concerned about what the other person may think about you or may say about you. Where is the people when no one has any thick skin anymore? Everybody has to be so worried about what someone said or someone did. What kind of world are we living in when people are cutting people's heads off in the Middle East and kidnapping and raping? We're worried about an alleged statement of this, an alleged look like that. What kind of nation have we become?
I couldn't even answer that if you wanted an answer. We've become a nation of lazy people that you'll offend by saying one word or another.
All right, so you agree with me, and I appreciate that, and you're getting a free gift, a Thanksgiving copy of Government Zero. While it does not have a picture of a turkey in a brown hat on it, it has a picture of me with a brown hat on it, and I know you're going to enjoy it. Thank you very much. By the way, if you put it in the oven, I suggest that you not cook it beyond a certain temperature Fahrenheit. In fact, there was a movie in the 60s based upon a great novel. Does anyone remember the name of it? I'll give you a free book if you do. Who knows the name of that movie and who wrote the book where the title contains the word Fahrenheit in it? I know that there are some literary people listening to the show. And I really do forget the temperature at which paper burns, but that was the title of the book, and I think it was written by Anthony Burgess, one of the world's great novelists, very well known many decades ago. But now let's not talk about testing missiles off the coast of L.A., freaking out millions of people, that the Girl Scouts in the White House had a little fun over the weekend, and they wanted to show China that we can fire a missile from a submarine off our coast. Do you understand how crazy the people are who are running this country? Do you understand how insane it is to pick a fight with China? Dustin, on WMAL, what do you make of the missile test off the coast of Los Angeles that was conducted this week and that freaked out millions of people in Southern California?
Dr. Savage, I think it's actually ridiculous that we are picking a fight that we don't even want to pick a fight with. It's ridiculous. I know you were very punctual. You don't need to say and kiss your rear end and say, "Oh, you made a great book," because you have. Us as Americans.
Let's not use any. Okay, what about firing the missile from the submarine over the weekend that made people think it was a nuclear war? Why do you think this government did that?
You made a very good point earlier whenever you said, I'm going to answer questions because you answer questions. And the question I have to you is easy. Do you think at that point, whenever they fired that missile, they were picking a fight?
I think they were threatening China. I think they were saber-rattling the way fools would saber-rattle with a nuclear submarine. Only a fool would do a thing like this. But let me tell you something. I think China and Russia are preparing a strike against America, but it may be a preemptive strike, an EMP attack, a cyber attack, currency wars, which China is engaged in today, bandwidth blackouts. By the way, I don't think they have to use nuclear weapons with the incompetent morons running this government. They can wipe us off the planet by crippling us and turning us into absolute slaves by knocking out our